here, your online systemic leadership mentor. I would like to share with you part 2 of the introduction of a new video series about the systemic change leadership journey, a framework that I've developed based on my experience in change management and systems thinking based approaches, and also based on what I learned from over 85 systems thinking thought leaders. Now, this video series will benefit you if you are a leader who wants to increase their effectiveness and ROI in leading change without wasting time, money, and energy on one-size-fits-all solutions that don't work. Now, in the first video, part 1 of the introduction, I explained to you the 3 phases that this systemic change leadership journey is all about, and how those help you lead change successfully and create a sustainable organization in the process. Now, in this video, I would like to share with you the 9 aspects or steps within the journey. But before I do so, I do want to indicate that these steps actually happen almost simultaneously and continuously. And so I put them in an order for the sake of clarity. But this order is by no means a journey that occurs in a linear fashion. So let's go to the steps. Step 1 in this framework is the organization approach. And the key question here is, what is our system and what are our connections and patterns? So this step is the invitation to look at your organization through a systemic lens and seeing it as a network of relationships, also called a complex adaptive system, also called a living human system. Seeing it as such opens up possibilities that traditional and hierarchical approaches to your organization don't have. In step 2, the key question is about identifying where we are in the sense of what is our situation and what type of change or changes are we dealing with. And so that's why it's called change identification. And with this, I do not mean the description of what's actually changing, such as we are merging or downsizing or things like that, but the type of change in the sense of how much do the patterns in our organization need to change, and to what extent does the system as a whole need to change its identity? And that makes all of the difference. Step 3 in the framework is actually about the leadership paradigm and about asking the questions such as what is systemic leadership, and also what does our system require in terms of leadership, and how is leadership shaped the systemic way, and what is actually the difference from our more traditional or hierarchical way of leading, and how will our organization benefit from a more systemic way of shaping leadership. Moving on to steps 4, 5, and 6, we go to the second phase in the framework. And step 4 is about change communication. And there the core question is, how much information and energy can flow freely throughout the system? And this has to do with, if one or more changes need to happen, then how quickly does the entire organization know, and how quickly does everyone in it have the right information to make the adjustments in their role or function? Step 5 is called collective intelligence, and that goes deeper into the free flow of information and also in the process of being generative. So this actually questions the ability of your organization and everyone in it to listen to all the information and all the voices, as I call them, that we actually have within the organization, with the purpose of generating something new or synthesizing into something new, or to focus on something that's already there but that is useful for the organization to explore more and have more of. Then we're on to step 6, and that is the ability of your organization to integrate differences and to leverage conflict. And this is both an individual and a collective skill. So when something is new, then it's important to be able to process the fact that it's new and different, and that we are able to see its benefits, and that we have an ability to put it to use to benefit the whole of the organization instead of using our automated defense mechanisms to keep the different out. Step 7 is about how we organize ourselves, and this especially has to do with when complexity increases. Now, self-organization is a very important skill, and we see this with every living system, whether it's a human body or whether it's a community or a family or a society. Um, and what's difficult about this one is that we are not really taught to self-organize. We are taught to use formal structures and hierarchy to instill organization. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but especially when complexity increases, there's only so much you can formalize, and there's only so much you can put procedures to. At some point, you need to leverage the skill of self-organization. Now, this is by no means an advocacy for self-organizing teams or anything like that, but it's a skill that can truly help when there's more and more complexity. Step 7 is about innovation. And the key question there is, how can our system enhance the cycle of expansion and stabilization? How can we continuously interact with our environment and perpetuate our existence by innovating? And this is also a process of the increased complexity that I talked about in step 7, but it's also about combining many of the other steps that we've seen previously and putting that in a continuous learning and innovation building process. Step 9 is about leading from the emerging future and anticipating the future. And this is not about predicting what's going to happen. It's more about using the ability of systems, whether it's human beings or organizations or teams, to have all senses open and to be very present, so that once new things start emerging and when new opportunities pop up, it's possible to then lead from that place. Not necessarily from leading the place of knowing it all, but about being more sensitive and sensitive enough to pick up on developments so that the organization can adapt much quicker and extend its existence also. So this was a quick overview of the 9 steps or aspects in the systemic change leadership journey. Now, there's much more to say about these steps, but this was just the overview. And if you enjoyed this video and if you want to hear more about the specific steps in the systemic change leadership journey, then please stay tuned because more videos are coming up. Now, if you want to get really clear about the one or a few things that you should be doing right now to increase your complex change leadership success, then you can book a call below. You can book a call with me. It's a free, no obligation call in which we will go through the framework and assess where you and your organization are in the journey. What we'll also do is discuss how you'll be able to implement the journey and shape effective change leadership in your organization. So if this is you, if you want to increase this for your organization, then book a call by clicking the link below. Thank you so much for watching. See you next video. Bye-bye.